afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Keith Silva. If you're looking for a fresh idea to give your sweetheart this Valentine's Day and you've waited this long, Across the Fence is here to help. Most of us don't think about the freshness of chocolate the same way as other foods. If properly stored, chocolate will maintain its quality for about a year, maybe two. A few years ago, we visited a Vermont chocolatier who decided to combine locally grown herbs with freshly made chocolate. The result makes a pretty sweet Vermont product.
You can't go wrong with chocolate, so.
As the buttercream bubbles and the truffle centers get rolled in chocolate, it's easy to become a kid in a candy store on a visit to Laughing Moon Chocolates in Stowe.
I like to make a product that I feel good about. If I didn't feel good about my product, I don't think I could do what I do.
Lee Williams believes her chocolate should have one simple goal: make people happy.
Somebody can come into the shop and spend $5 and make somebody's day. And there's not many places where you can go and spend, under $10 for a gift and have it really brighten someone else's day.
When it comes to a box of chocolates or a store-bought candy bar, one word that doesn't usually come to mind is fresh. Williams and her staff are attempting to change that expectation.
We really pride ourselves on our product being probably the freshest that you can get anywhere, and I think that's the difference between our product and any other product that you can buy. The idea of the chocolates as a fresh product, I do think is something relatively new, but it's surprising to me that people don't consider the fact that when they do buy a caramel or a truffle or a buttercream that's sitting in a box, they don't really consider how long it's been sitting there and what's in it. I mean, it has to have milk and dairy of some sort, so I wouldn't want to make that product.
The chocolate that Williams uses comes from a vendor in Massachusetts. And that's about the farthest distance that almost any of the ingredients in a Laughing Moon chocolate have to travel.
We have an opportunity to use ingredients that we source from, a variety of places. Obviously chocolate, like coffee or many other things that we consume daily, is not a local agricultural product. But when you think about like a truffle or a buttercream or a caramel, the ratio of chocolate to center, there's a lot more center than there is chocolate.
Centering on this idea gives Williams a niche that fits in well with Vermont farmers and local food producers.
We decided that we wanted to make that center with as many local ingredients as we possibly could. And so we started asking ourselves about every single product. Can we make it ourselves, and if not, can we source it locally? And at that time, this was about 4 years ago now, we stopped using things like Oreo cookies because we decided that we'd rather have the cookies that we sell baked by a local baker. So we've been having Sweet Crunch Bake Shop in Hyde Park bake chocolate, vanilla, and ginger shortbread cookies for us that we dip in chocolate.
I have had a sweet tooth my entire life, so I'm all about chocolate. I always have been.
Brittany Hickman is in charge of making all the sweets and treats at Laughing Moon Chocolates.
Everything's done by hand, so each piece is going to look different, and you can tell it wasn't machine made because everything has a little bit of a different shape to it. So I think our first priority is the flavor and the taste of the product we're putting out. We do like it to look nice, but each piece is unique, and we're happy to have that.
Hickman's time making truffles and other handmade chocolate-dipped delicacies gives her perspective about where the food she makes comes from.
When you think of it just as the chocolate, but when you're thinking about everything else that goes into it, your centers and things like that, that's when I think you can start to understand how chocolate is local.
Along with using Vermont-produced products like cookies, granola, and peanut butter, Williams tries to find ways to give all her products a local flavor.
We use Vermont honey to candy fruit often. We have a lot of products that we make using more agricultural products, like we use Zach Woods herbs to steep into the cream for our peppermint truffles and our basil and black pepper truffles.
This is peppermint that I'm bagging for Laughing Moon Chocolates.
Jeff Carpenter owns Zach Wood's Herb Farm in Hyde Park. The farm is the largest operation of its kind in Vermont. Carpenter specializes in growing certified organic, medicinal, and botanic herbs.
It's great to know that our herbs are going into chocolate. It's one of those things I never really thought that it's a product that I never thought our herbs would end up in, but it's really exciting.
Carpenter appreciates having Williams as a customer, but more so as a friend and as a member of his community.
Lee has a choice. She could either, buy these products, peppermint and basil, from a large, wholesaler in the Midwest or something, but she's really focused on high quality. And she saw a good opportunity to buy local certified organic products that would really improve the quality of her products. So she started buying herbs from us. We really value the relationship we have with Lee and Laughing Moon because it's such a local relationship. We're keeping the money right in our community here, right in Lamoille County. It's a very cooperative relationship, and it's been enjoyable.
I love working in a collaboration with other business owners, and I've seen a lot of people do that successfully and have, a really great, fun time doing it, and that's sort of where we've taken it.
Laughing Moon Chocolates is a taste of Vermont, a business where fresh and local really mean fresh and local.
In Vermont, few of us think of February as part of the growing season. But that doesn't mean nothing can or will grow, even outside. Bread and Butter Farm in Shelburne has a low-cost, low-energy way to grow greens even when the ground is covered with the white stuff, as I learned on a cold winter's day not too long ago.
When the snow starts to fly at Bread and Butter Farm in Shelburne, it's a sign it's time to pick.
The niche really for us is the winter growing and focusing on cold hardy winter greens.
Corey Pierce and her business partner, Adam Wilson, run this 140-acre farm. In addition to what they grow in their 2 greenhouses, they have beef cattle and operate a bakery. On Fridays during the summer, they host burger nights. From buns to burgers to salads, all of the food is made and served on site. During the winter months, Pierce harvests kale and spinach. As for the rest of the management in the greenhouse, she makes sure to keep everything fairly passive.
The only thing that we're capturing here is the sun's heat, and we call it passive solar greenhouses. Because of the volume of space that we have in here and the plastic relatively tight space that we've got, it stays warm in here. The soil actually stays about 40 degrees, and we get, on a sunny day in January when it's 12 degrees outside, we'll get up to 70 degrees in here, 80 degrees when things really get heated up. And we actually, on those days, continuous sunny days in a row, we'll actually get growth, especially in the spinach and a little bit in the kale. But yeah, the way I look at it is the input that's gone into this is the steel and the plastic and the frame, and that's a long-term investment. But then after that, it's just a matter of managing the space. And actually, people always think it's all about like getting the plants, keeping them as warm as possible. It's actually more about making sure that we actually are minimizing the temperature swing that they are experiencing. So I'm actually doing a lot of venting and a lot of clearing out of the warm air.
Pierce tries to keep the temperature in the greenhouse at about 60 degrees. When it gets really cold, like at night, she covers the plants with a row cover. Think of it like using a blanket to tuck the plants in. The row cover creates a microclimate, which keeps the temperature 20 degrees warmer than the air outside.
People, I think, like once they come in and see like no additional heat except the sun, and they can see crops actually alive, they can taste them, and they have a totally different taste from kale in the summer. It might not look as pretty this time of year, but it's tastier than ever and tender and sweet and all that. And same thing with the spinach. People get really excited. I think people are really getting used to it. Like people are, even on their own in little cold frames outside, are starting to try to overwinter more, and that's great. I think it's totally doable, and these plants are totally amazing how they survive.
Pierce sells what she grows through her farm and through Healthy Living, a natural foods market in Burlington. As consumer demand for local food continues to increase, even in the winter, farmers are sure to fill the need. University of Vermont vegetable and berry specialist Vern Grubinger believes winter hardy crops could help farmers stand out in a crowded marketplace.
But it's not something that every grower is interested in because people are pretty busy throughout the growing season, which is long as it is. So it takes a certain kind of grower that wants to be dealing with the tunnels and the covers and keeping these crops alive and harvesting them in the middle of winter. But a lot more growers could be doing this. It's not an exclusive kind of technology. It's affordable and attainable by a lot of people. It just has to fit their production season and their personal, schedule of growing. We're starting to see more growers producing crops, leafy greens, cold hardy greens in the winter, in part because there's an unmet market demand, whereas in many locations summer vegetables are pretty saturated because there are a lot of growers and a lot of farmers markets and things like that. So I expect to see more winter production in the coming years.
Increased competition is one problem Pierce would be happy to have.
I just want to see people do this. Like I don't look at it as like competition, I think a lot of factors are at play in our community and our state of and region of just fostering this food system, and I think there's a lot more space than some people might say. Honestly, I got really inspired when I saw the simplicity of this system. I don't have to be managing propane tanks or whatever other heating source or fans or electricity coming into here, or I can just put these greenhouses up and boom, get going. And what I'm losing in yield by not putting in all that input to pump out the product, I am gaining in simplicity, in not spending that money or those fossil fuel, inputs. I think you got to continually be creative with it. You can't sit back and just be like, oh, we figured out what we're doing, that's what we're going to do. It's I feel like you have to constantly adapt.
Spinach and kale, winter greens that taste good and keep farmers in the green all winter long.
As we say goodbye, I want to thank everyone here at WCAX for making today's program possible, and as always, thank you for stopping by Across the Fence.